Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're uncovering something massive yet entirely hidden: the digital infrastructure that powers literally every waking second of our modern civilization. Right now, beneath your feet, there are thousands of miles of fiber optic cables. Up above our heads, complex satellite arrays are orbiting the globe. And quietly humming in remote nondescript buildings are these massive data centers. Together, they manage everything: our money, our water, our power grids, our transportation, the whole shebang. But what happens when this invisible web we've built suddenly becomes a battlefield? Well, today we are looking at a very serious, very high-stakes reality: the invisible frontier of cyber warfare. Okay, let's dive into this. I want you to imagine a scenario with me for a second. You wake up tomorrow morning, you reach for your phone, and there's no signal, dead. You go to flip on the lights, and the power is totally out. You head outside, and every single traffic light is dark. But here's the eerie part: there are no sirens, there are no enemy planes flying overhead, no army crossing a physical border, and definitely no bombs dropping. It's just silent. Yet your nation's infrastructure has just been fundamentally crippled. We have to ask ourselves, what actually happens when the screens simply go dark? The unraveling happens incredibly fast. We're talking about a rapid, cascading failure. First, the electricity grids go offline, plunging entire cities into darkness. And immediately following that, ATMs freeze up, credit card scanners stop working, and global banking just grinds to an absolute halt. Next, the internet and mobile networks fail, completely cutting off the flow of information. Airports freeze as radar and ticketing systems crash, halting all transportation. You're basically stuck wherever you are. And perhaps most terrifyingly, hospitals, completely stripped of their power and digital patient records, struggle to function while backup generators heavily strain to keep life-saving equipment running. It's a rapid domino effect. The modern world we rely on simply collapses, and it takes just a matter of hours. Which brings us to Section 1, our digital glass house, the fragile foundation. You see, we're facing a complete inversion of traditional conflict here. Cyber warfare is all about targeting the interconnected systems of critical infrastructure to cause chaos, completely bypassing the need for kinetic, physical military force. Notice the profound shift we're talking about. We are no longer focusing on the physical destruction of buildings or blowing up roads. Actually, scratch that. It's more like we're focusing on the invisible disruption of the very systems that make those buildings and roads functional in the first place. It is literally about paralyzing a society from the inside out. And this brilliantly illustrates just how deep our vulnerability runs. Power grids, banking networks, telecommunications, transportation systems, government and military data, they all rely on internet-connected industrial controls. If you sever the telecommunications link, for example, you aren't just losing your cell service. You are severing the undersea cables and the satellite links that allow the entire banking sector to authorize transactions. It's like a giant puzzle, and our entire existence is completely dependent on all of these interconnected, highly vulnerable sectors functioning perfectly 100% of the time. Ultimately, a successful strike on these hidden digital systems doesn't just mean a temporary, annoying inconvenience for us. It guarantees widespread economic chaos as markets just freeze up. It triggers immediate public panic as essential goods become completely inaccessible. And, of course, it puts national security deeply at risk, leaving an entire nation blind and paralyzed to respond to any further threats. Moving on to Section 2, it's already happening: the history of cyber warfare. Because, listen, this isn't just some hypothetical Hollywood movie scenario. We can objectively trace this escalating threat over the last 2 decades. Back in 2007, Estonia faced a massive cyber attack that crippled its government, its banking, and online services for weeks. It proved right then and there that a digital society could be brought to its knees. Then, the year 2010 changed everything with Stuxnet. By targeting Iran's nuclear program and physically destroying their centrifuges, it proved that code could actually cross the digital threshold and cause real physical damage. Fast forward to 2021, and the U.S. Colonial Pipeline ransomware attack halted fuel distribution across the entire eastern seaboard. And today, right now, in the ongoing Ukraine conflict, we are seeing cyber operations deployed simultaneously alongside kinetic warfare. It's made the digital domain a permanent, undeniable fixture of modern conflict. And we need to talk about the sheer scale of this threat, because it's staggering. Millions. During the Colonial Pipeline attack alone, a single vulnerability in an IT system simultaneously affected millions of people. It caused fuel shortages, panic buying at the pumps, all from one digital breach. A single vulnerability brought massive segments of a major global economy to a sudden halt. The impact-to-effort ratio here is just massive. Let's look at Section 3, Code versus Steel, a paradigm shift in warfare. This new battlefield requires a completely different calculus from what we're used to.
Conventional warfare, your missiles, tanks, aircraft carriers, that stuff is highly visible and incredibly expensive to build, maintain, and deploy. Basically, you can see it coming from miles away. Cyber warfare, however, relies entirely on lines of code. It is incredibly cheap to execute, and more importantly, it is stealthy. It's extremely hard to detect an attack until it's already too late, and even harder to definitively attribute that attack to a specific government. That gives the attacker total plausible deniability. Code is rapidly becoming the preferred weapon for sure, because it offers maximum disruption with absolutely minimal risk.
Section 4. The Global Chessboard. The New Cyber Arms Race. Right now, major technological powers, including the US, China, and Russia, are pouring massive investments into both their offensive and defensive cyber capabilities. Cyberspace is no longer viewed as just a handy communication tool. It is now officially treated by militaries worldwide as a formal domain of conflict. It sits right up there alongside land, sea, air, and space. And the terrifying part, the targets for tomorrow are already being probed today. Hackers are consistently out there testing the defenses of global satellite networks, municipal water treatment systems, and regional power grids. They're just looking for the backdoors they'll need when a conflict inevitably escalates. And this brings us to a chilling consensus among geopolitical and technology experts. They say future conflicts may begin with cyber attacks before any conventional military action. Before a single boot even hits the ground, the objective will be to blind the adversary, disable their radar, shut down their communications, freeze up their logistics, and panic their civilian population. The invisible invasion will essentially pave the way for the physical one. Finally, Section 5, the next world war, the invisible frontiers. So the crucial point is this: our entire perception of power has to change. The absolute most dangerous weapons of our modern era are no longer nuclear bombs sitting quietly in silos or massive aircraft carriers patrolling the oceans. They are invisible lines of code. Code silently traveling through those fiber optic cables beneath our feet, perfectly capable of disrupting the very foundation of modern human civilization without making a single sound. As our lives become more and more digitized, our homes more smart, and our infrastructure more deeply interconnected, our digital glass house becomes incredibly fragile. We have built a magnificent, highly advanced digital world, but we've placed it squarely on the front line of a brand new kind of war. So I'll leave you with this. Will the next major global conflict begin not on a muddy battlefield, but in the silent and visible depths of cyberspace? It's definitely a question we all need to be asking ourselves as we look at the screens that rule our daily lives. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and keep your eyes open.